Come on, then. Oh, yes, that's it. Come on, Owen. Come on. That's it, fella. Come on, up we go.
What's up, Vault Dwellers? Alright, we've arrived at part 3, where we draw some swords, open some portals, and dive deep into the forgotten realms of animated fantasy and sci-fi. This is where the budget ran out, but the imagination never did. So let's close this trilogy with the films that may not have ruled the box office, but they sure as hell ruled our hearts. Oh yeah, by the way, I know I missed a bunch that you thought should be on one of these 3 films. I'm looking at you, Fritz the Cat. So I decided to have a part 4 for the fan favorites I forgot. If you want to add to this list, maybe we'll even have a part 5. All right, let's get started.
Ralph, if we don't find food soon, we'll die.
I'm not gonna die. Not without a fight.
Who are you going to fight? There's no one here.
We'll live by our teeth and kill. That's what we'll do. Kill.
If Watership Down didn't wreck your childhood hard enough, then The Plague Dogs, it's here to finish the job. This was directed by Martin Rosen and based on a novel by Richard Adams. This 1982 film follows 2 dogs who escape a cruel animal testing facility and try to survive in the wilderness. The trouble is, the government thinks they might be carrying the bubonic plague. This is not a feel-good buddy dog movie. It's bleak, beautifully animated, and a gut punch that pulls no punches on themes like animal cruelty, paranoia, and just societal breakdown. I mean, there's no sugarcoating here. No last-minute miracles, just a relentless struggle for freedom and dignity in a world that offers little of either. The Plague Dogs is emotionally devastating, yes, but it's also vital and thoughtful and just unforgettable. It's the kind of animated film that sticks to your ribs for like decades. It's not for kids, and it's not for the faint of heart, but for those who want their animation to say something serious, it absolutely howls.
Well, keep going. Try.
You cannot pass!
Alright, so I decided that I'm going to combine Ralph Bakshi's ambitious but incomplete Lord of the Rings with Rankin and Bass's emotionally earnest Return of the King. And this gives us one of the strangest cinematic tag teams in animated history. Bakshi's 1978 film adapts the first half of the Tolkien epic with like rotoscoped realism, moody landscapes, and an intensity that feels almost like too heavy for the medium. While some criticize its pacing and just abrupt ending, I mean, there's no denying the ambition. Bakshi wanted to bring Middle-earth to life in a way never seen before. And while he didn't finish the story, what he created was just unforgettable.
The halflings. Orcs took them. I think they are not dead.
I mean, orcs shimmer in the shadows, battles rumble with raw grit, and Aragorn broods like a Shakespearean hero. And then enters Rankin and Bass's Return of the King.
Ja, mein Ring! Mein Ring! Ah!
It's a musical, narrative-driven finale that tries to wrap up the saga with some singing hobbits.
When Bilbo found that shiny ring in Gollum's cave of gloom,
Stylized battles, and a more family-friendly tone. It's tonal whiplash when viewed back-to-back with Bakshi's gloom, but somehow I feel it works. The contrast creates a weirdly balanced whole, Grim dark ambition followed by cozy closure. Together, these films brought Tolkien to an entire generation long before Peter Jackson got his hands on the ring. They may be uneven, but they're packed with soul.
Fall to the nothingness that awaits you and your master. Go!
Old fool! This is my hour.
You will serve me, Zarkov, willingly or otherwise. The girl pleases me. She will join my special servants. If she does well, I may favor her.
Long before the campy live-action Flash Gordon film that rocked the Queen soundtrack, this animated TV movie from Filmation laid the groundwork, and arguably did it better. Originally produced for theatrical release, it eventually aired on television in 1982. But don't let that Saturday morning cartoon label fool you. This movie was punching way above its weight. It's a full-fledged space opera, packed with Cold War subtext, high-stakes adventure, and surprisingly complex storytelling. Flash, Dale, and Zarkov.
Dr. Zarkov, I'm Flash Gordon. This is Dale Arden.
They battle Ming the Merciless across the wild alien landscapes, but this time with a more serious tone. The animation is stylish for its time. With dynamic action sequences and just richly designed alien worlds. The film also features deeper character arcs than you'd really expect.
Father, if it pleases you, I would have this Earthman for my own.
You presume upon our relationship, daughter. It would have earned anyone else death.
Especially for something that was aired on network television. Flash isn't just a jock with a ray gun. He's a principled hero fighting against tyranny. This is largely forgotten today, but the greatest adventure of all deserves credit for treating its audience with respect and ambition. For fans of vintage sci-fi, it's a polished, thoughtful, and entertaining take on a pulp legend.
With all its problems, Dale, that was reality. Mongo, with its strange life and wild adventure, that's our dream.
My name's Lucy.
But you are, forgive me, you are what they call a girl?
Of course I'm a girl.
You are, in fact, human?
Of course I'm human.
This Rankin and Bass adaptation of C.S. Lewis's beloved tale may be visually simple, but emotionally, it completely hits home. Using a mix of traditional and rotoscoped animation, the film manages to capture the magic and weight of Lewis's allegorical world. It tells the story of four siblings who stumble through a wardrobe and into the land ruled by the icy witch queen, only to find destiny and redemption on the other side. The film's pacing, it's deliberate. It gives its characters room to breathe as the world develops around them. Unlike flashier adaptations, this version leans into the spiritual depth of Lewis's writing.
Oh no! What does this mean? More magic?
Yes! It is more magic!
Oh, Aslan! You're not dead?
Emphasizing themes of sacrifice, courage, and forgiveness. While the animation isn't as polished as a Disney one would be, the emotional resonance is undeniable. The voice acting and the script come together to create a mood that lingers long after the credits roll. It's become a classroom staple for a reason. For many, this was their first experience with high fantasy, and it felt deeply personal. Rankin and Bass delivered one of their most enduring and heartfelt animated efforts here.
Once a king or queen of Narnia, always a king or queen. Bear it well, sons of Adam. Bear it well, daughters of Eve.
Many ages ago, when this ancient planet was not quite so ancient, long before man recorded his history, there was the time of Middle-earth, when man shared his days with elves, dwarves, wizards, goblins, dragons, and hobbits.
Rankin and Bass return once again with one of their most divisive works, The Hobbit. Adapting Tolkien's novel in just under 80 minutes, that's no easy feat. Peter Jackson did it in 3 movies, right? But the result was, it was weird. The animation is kind of janky, and the characters' design border on, I don't know, grotesque. And the songs, I mean, they're memorable.
The mold of your life is in your hands to break.
But for all its flaws, this version of The Hobbit has absolute charm. It leans hard into the storybook tone, with a narrator guiding us through Bilbo's unexpected journey. The voice acting is absolutely solid.
Do you find the terms acceptable? Of course he does. But I...
Especially Brother Theodore as Gollum.
What is that noise, my precious? My precious does not know.
Who delivers a performance that's just unsettling in a way modern versions can't quite replicate. The film was a big hit on television and introduced a whole generation to Tolkien's world. For many, this was their gateway to epic fantasy. It may not be accurate, and it may not be pretty, but it captured the spirit of adventure that defines the genre. Over time, its oddball aesthetics and earnest tone have won it a cult following. It's a flawed but fascinating artifact from a time when adapting Tolkien was still uncharted territory.
I come from under the hill, and under the hill and over the hills my paths led. And through the air I am he that walks unseen.
You make riddles?
What a strange use for gold.
Because dragons tend to ignite ordinary bedding, they must find a soft metal to sleep on. And gold proves most comfortable for them.
Ah, hence the dragon's need for a horn.
Based on 2 different books, because one wasn't enough.
Flight of Dragons. Aren't you writing a book by the same name?
This Rankin and Bass TV movie mashes together science, magic, and fantasy into one ambitious animated journey. John Ritter voices a modern man who gets pulled into a magical realm and, becomes a dragon. The animation is signature Rankin and Bass, like with bold line work, soft watercolor backgrounds, and an ethereal, dreamlike quality that makes everything feel like a half-remembered bedtime story. While it was a made-for-TV movie, the craft in the visual presentation elevates it way beyond its budget. There's a surprising amount of philosophical discussion packed into this script.
But we have no choice. The inevitability is the strongest magic of all.
Monologues about the tension between science and faith, and technology and magic. The villain, voiced with Shakespearean gravitas by James Earl Jones.
So that he uses his science and logic to destroy himself.
Delivers speeches like he's in a fantasy stage play, not a cartoon aimed at kids. Among fantasy fans in the 80s, it built a quiet cult following. It exposed us to fantasy with depth, stakes, and dragons that talked about metaphysics.
Limestone is high in calcium. Calcium, when mixed with stomach acids, would form hydrogen.
It's wonderfully weird, occasionally preachy, and just absolutely unforgettable.
Now before we devour you.
You wouldn't really.
No, dwarfs, no. They're all sinewy and hairy. The meat you get's not worth picking out of the teeth.
There. That should do it.
Hi.
That's more like it.
Has anyone ever told you that you're awfully cute for a meat body?
Often called the animated Star Wars ripoff that really goes for it, Starchaser is just full of laser battles, robots, chosen ones, and even a floating castle. But what really sets it apart is its surprisingly violent content, religious undertones, and its ambitious use of 3D computer animation during a time when the technology was still in its infancy. The film follows Orin, a miner who discovers a magical sword and a destiny that sends him across a galaxy ruled by a tyrannical overlord. The mix of sci-fi gadgetry with sword and sorcery aesthetics creates a chaotic but oddly charming tone.
You've got exactly 10 seconds to tell me what you're doing in this swamp, or you'll be swimming with those 2 mandroids.
Starchaser found life on home video and cable TV, especially among young fans hungry for more Star Wars-style adventures. Over the years, it's gained a cult following not just for its earnest storytelling and quirky dialogue, but also for how ahead of its time it was in terms of integrating CG elements into traditional animation. I mean, it's schlocky in the best way. You know, a kitchen sink space opera that tries to cram every sci-fi trope into 100 minutes and somehow makes it feel like gloriously sincere.
Where'd you get a government member?
Never mind that. How much for it?
No! On consignment? Don't touch me. 15% or whatever she brings.
I'll be back in an hour. Don't waste your tears on me, honey. You'll rust.
Back to the burrow. It'll come there. Don't think it won't. It's all around us.
Now stop it, Fiver.
We've got to go away from here. All of us.
Go away? Well, the whole Warren?
Yes, before it's too late.
Being silly.
If someone told you there is an animated movie about bunnies, and you assumed it was just like carrot munching and some frolicking fields, well, Watership Down, it's here to emotionally sucker punch you with the cold, brutal hand of fate. This was released back in 1978 and directed by Martin Rosen. This adaptation of Richard Adams' novel follows a band of rabbits escaping the destruction of their warren and journeying towards a promised land.
But what happened?
Our warren. Destroyed.
Destroyed? How?
Men came, filled in the burrows.
But nature, man, and even other rabbits are out to kill them, like every step of the way. What makes Watership Down just so unforgettable, it isn't just the violence, it's the gravitas. The animation may look simple, right? But the themes are just epic. It's survival, prophecy, tyranny, and freedom.
There's something unnatural and evil and twisted about this place. It feels like mist, like being deceived.
And the film treats its audience, children included, with the full dramatic weight. The score is haunting, the voice acting is dignified, and yes, Bright Eyes will make you cry even if you're made of stone. It was controversial on release, especially among unsuspecting parents, but it's now a cult classic. Proof that animation can tell stories as harrowing and profound as any live-action epic. These aren't just rabbits. They're like warriors, dreamers, and survivors.
General Woundworth's body was never found. It could be that he still lives his fierce life somewhere else.
In a few moments, this ship will crash on the planet below. Even with all my magic, I may not survive. But you shall, child.
Bravestarr is a genre-melding space western about a Native American marshal defending a lawless planet with the power of animal spirits. You know, it's kind of like a little bit Lone Ranger meets Star Wars with a splash of Thundercats. Although it flopped in theaters, Bravestarr was way ahead of its time in diversity, action, and scope. It explored themes like personal responsibility, prejudice, just all wrapped in a pulpy, action-packed adventure. I mean, plus it's got a cyborg horse that talks and fires a shotgun. I mean, what's not to love? The animation is solid for the era. The characters are memorable, and the world building is surprisingly robust. It's pure Saturday morning madness, and a time capsule of just everything great and everything weird about 80s sci-fi cartoons.
I ain't never lost a fight before, and I don't intend to lose this one.
Which are earth, air, fire, and water. The four elements from which all things are created.
How can you talk about elements when the war draws near to us every hour?
Directed by Bakshi and born from brushstrokes of fantasy legend Frank Frazetta, Fire and Ice is what happens when you rotoscope pure pulp. And the film centers on a scantily clad hero named Lauren and his quest to save Princess Tegra from the clutches of an evil iced warlock named Necron. Yeah, it's as gloriously bonkers as it sounds. The real draw here, though, it isn't the plot. it's the style. The rotoscope technique, where live action footage is traced to create a more realistic animation, gives like every muscle twitch and sword swing an uncanny fluidity. Frazetta's influence bleeds through in the form of rugged landscapes, moody shadows, and warriors with more biceps than shirts. This is fantasy as pure aesthetic. Critics were lukewarm, and box office returns were chilly, but Fire and Ice didn't care. It found its audience among genre fans who saw it for what it was, a loving, savage homage to pulp magazines and heavy metal album covers.
Avenge me.
I mean, it wasn't subtle, it wasn't sophisticated, but it was absolutely unforgettable. For fans of sword and sorcery, it's a must-see animated time capsule.
Kill.
Get out of here. No. The hell you won't. Go find the girl.
All right, we just covered 30 films that made us believe in the power of imagination. No matter how weird or budgetly challenged the imagination was. If you missed part 1 or 2, go do yourself a favor and jump back. Part 1 was the classics, part 2 was cult chaos, and this was the finale, pure enchanted core memory. And don't forget, I'm doing a part 4 of fan favorites, so get your vote in now. So until next time, stay strange, stay nostalgic, and keep it weird, folks.
Stay where you are. I mean it.
Oh, we're no kidder. No need for you and me to start battling.
In the lands of Middle-earth, in an area known as the Shire, there was a village named Hobbit.
Who's making all that rumpus? It's that balmy old gent what lives upstream.